Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now, we're taking a look here today at XRP, which is an awesome coin, in my personal opinion. I know there's a lot of unfortunate negative news out there, but regardless, it's still very volatile and definitely doing some things here. I think it's up about 40% in the last 24 hours, which is uncommon considering the fact that it's traditionally been kind of stagnant in the last few weeks. So it's kind of nice to see some action here. But thank you to my community members, my patrons, for recommending that I cover this. I really do appreciate you. Thank you. Moving forward, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should always do your own research and just know that you have to take ownership of your trades. It's really important to do that. So that's why you need to learn and do as much as you can to understand and become more self-sufficient. That's where I come in. I like to try to teach as much as I can and help you understand how to be a good, effective trader so you can trade for a lifetime, not just for one day. If you're more of an autopilot trader, or perhaps you want to kind of get some insight on what I do each and every day when I'm trading and how I analyze my charts, obviously pay attention to what we're going to be speaking about here today. But more importantly, reference my my Patreon community, because we do have a large group of folks there that are joining consistently. And I share all of my trades with my members, and I provide you with entry points. I basically send signals on entry points, best practice, and of course, big pictures so you know how to navigate the market. Okay. So that is an offer, of course. Feel free to check that out in your own time. Not required, of course, at all, but I would recommend you check out my Telegram community if nothing else, because that is just a good group of folks there as well, where you can kind of learn and grow together. And that community is growing. I think we're at 600 plus right now, which is nice after only about 3 to 4 months worth of this channel having been active. So nonetheless, thank you so much again for all of your support, each and every one of you. Couldn't do it without you. Appreciate you. Now moving forward, let's just go ahead and take a look at the charts. Let's get to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at XRP. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first to get a baseline of the market so we know exactly what's going on. So if you're new to the channel, sit tight, learn a little thing or two here today, because the whole point and purpose is to make sure that we make a well-informed decision before we take entry. And if you're not looking at Bitcoin and or Ethereum, just quickly, then you'll get kind of, I don't know, it's going to be a flawed perspective because you don't know all the angles, right? So that's what we look at here. Now, first of all, to clarify regarding Bitcoin, or just in general, what I use here, I use TradingView.com desktop application. Feel free to reference that. Link in the description below. I have like a free month where you can kind of see if you'd like to have more than 2 indicators present above and beyond the free version. Always recommend the paid version if you're going to be able to follow along or be more effective in this sense, because it's just one of those things that you have to have more than 2 indicators. Granted, I only believe in having 2 indicators present per time frame, but you still need to kind of jump in between a few different ones over the course of analyzing your charts, right? So just a recommendation there, but this is the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin, and what we're doing was we're just taking a quick look at some moving averages and, more importantly, the support and resistance levels, right? So obviously Bitcoin's been doing some things lately. We had a leg up and a leg down basically in the last 24 hours. We'll talk more about that here in a second, but we've got a 50-day simple moving average. That's this orange line here and the 200 back below. We may see the 50-day simple moving average get tested soon. It's traditionally working as a support, was a previous resistance when the price broke down in this channel here between 37,000 and 42,500, but generally speaking, we are looking to be in pretty good shape here, whereas the support level of 46,500 is still holding strong. Okay, it was a previous resistance, and as you can see on the 4-hour chart, it is obviously closing above both those candlesticks in the last 8 hours. We've got that to work as a support. Now, it could continue to try to regress and push down. Weekends are notorious for selling off because people are taking their profits. But again, we're still kind of in a bull market, and people are starting to feel that investment craze, and people are flooding more money into the market. There's tons of money in USD right now, and it's just one of those things. I think we're still going to see Bitcoin take off because obviously we have a resistance at about 51,500, or sorry, 51,200, but between here and there, unless Bitcoin creates new support and resistance levels, that's pretty much open season to get all the way to that point. Another thing to note as well is the fact that the price did kind of restrict at about 47,800. So this might be a good little resistance level to kind of pay attention to, because if it comes up again and gets rejected, then there's a strong chance we'll see the price come back down. But yeah, all in all, that's kind of the state of Bitcoin right now. Just kind of working itself into these consistent channels, above and below. If all goes well, it continues to stay between 46.5 and 48 50,000 this weekend. And obviously, we'll see when there's a breakout early next week. It could happen this weekend too, don't get me wrong, but weekends usually have a lower volume and they're more prone to selling off and retracing. Okay. It doesn't mean that's going to happen, but that is possibly a likelihood. Now Ethereum, you could pretty much just say the exact same thing I just said for Bitcoin for Ethereum. It's pretty much just moving on its merry way. It's performing very similar to Bitcoin right now, so I'm not really super concerned with it as far as any kind of potential breakouts or regression, so to speak, because obviously the 50 is working as a support level. We've got 2,900 as a major support, as well as 2,400. Furthermore, of course, down here below, probably don't need to worry about that for a while, I hope, but 1725 was approximately a major support there. And bear in mind, too, the next major resistance is about 3,500. So 3,550, 3,500 roughly is the next major resistance for Ethereum. So just pay attention. We'll see what happens soon, but it's working itself into this wide channel right now, and we might very well see a breakout. Actually, kind of looks like 32.5 is a pretty consistent support here as well on the 4-hour. So just something to note there. 32.5 is a potential support. It's tested 3 times and held above so far, and it was a previous resistance. Excuse me. All right, moving on to XRP. Let's take a look here. Now, what we do always is we look at the 1-hour the 1-day chart for any coins that we're looking at, and we work our way down. The whole point of that is to get the average true range, kind of get perspective on where XRP was previously, prior to the Bitcoin sell-off, as well as, where it's at presently. It's actually doing awesome right now, obviously. The last 24 hours, we've seen a significant increase. Actually, 48 hours, we've seen almost 30%, which is a lot for XRP. Even though it has ramped up in the past previously, it hasn't done this in a while. It's been kind of dying off. So just keep that in mind. XRP is in pretty good shape there. But what we want to look at, first of all, is the major sell-offs from Bitcoin. April 17th, May 19th. Those are kind of the more significant ones. The first one being April 17th, which is right here. So XRP was amid a retracement. It was retracing from this significant increase here. So we look at this in just 1 week's time, XRP had increased about 240, 250%. That's quite a lot of growth, so it obviously had to retrace. It was probably going to retrace down about 50%, which would have been about 123. However, it continued further because Bitcoin sold off, right? And then as per usual, most altcoins ramped up here as well once Bitcoin got back on track for a little while and things went sideways. And of course, you can see May 19th right here. Pretty obvious. So that being said, XRP spent the most amount of time between $1 and $1.65. So we split the difference at $1.30, $1.32, right in that range. And we're right at about 123 right now. Okay. So when Bitcoin was 50 to 60,000, it was at $1 to $1.60. Bitcoin is now at about 47,000 and we're at 124. Okay. So if you're going to predict anything based on this information alone, XRP should max out at about $1.30 until Bitcoin surpasses 50,000, right? So that's kind of the logic there. That's kind of why you want to look at the 1-day chart, quickly get perspective there. Cool thing is we're above both moving averages, obviously. We are up over up over 80 on the RSI. That's a bit concerning unless we get some sideways action here. What's cool about this is you can see here, we are kind of getting a good bull run pattern from XRP, right? Because you see these 2-3-day patterns of consolidation. We only had 1-day consolidation here, but Bitcoin's been legging up multiple times recently, which is why XRP is taking off. XRP does have a tendency of doing what Bitcoin does in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's more exponential in some cases, but for the most part, if Bitcoin's doing well, XRP will as well. It's just kind of the bottom line there. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart so we can get a quick perspective here. And this is that leg up I was referring to. We see this. Yes, we got a nice, here, let's try that again. Yes, it came up and came over and retraced, but it ramped back up again. So we're getting these good little periods of consolidation. So ultimately, we want to see a little more consolidation from XRP before it ramps up to $1.30 and higher. Okay. That's kind of the ultimate goal for the 4-hour chart. Good news is we're up over both moving averages. That's fantastic. We've got the RSI up over 70. It's close to 80 right now. So, I like the RSI on the 4-hour chart probably the best, and I can tell you that that is overextended again, but if it can go sideways for a little while and just kind of drop down below where we're looking good. You can also see here too where the price is pretty much staying above 50 on the RSI. That's a good sign. That basically means the bulls are in control, because if you look back here, RSI 50 is pretty much a cutoff there where it's working as a strong resistance. Now it's a stronger support. We did have a MACD convergence on the 13th at 9 a.m. Let's go ahead and mark that. So 13th at 9 a.m. where we are, right here. So we got a convergence right there on the MACD. Actually, hold on, did I get that right? Nope, wrong one. All right, and I like to mark that because, if you're new to the channel or just in general, the Ishimoku cloud is fantastic for being able to identify entry points for us. And if you look, there's a correlation usually in most cases between the 4-hour chart and the Ishimoku cloud. And what I mean by that is like when the 12 and the 26 intersect on the MACD to create that convergence. In other words, it swings in an upward fashion. It looks like this little upward momentum here. That is basically a signal to buy and go long, right? Because the bears are losing control and the bulls are in control. When we look at the 1-hour chart and we turn on the Ishimoku cloud, no coincidence. Take a look at that. This 4-hour time frame where XRP was converging on the MACD, giving us a long buy signal, the price broke above the cloud, and this would have been an entry point as well. So you got this nice confirmation here to look for. So always try to pay attention to that if you're a swing trader. Look at the 4-hour chart MACD, and then just roll right over to the 1-hour chart for the Ishimoku cloud. By the way, too, if you are unfamiliar with the cloud, just disable all these extra indicators here. They're helpful, don't get me wrong, but they're very noisy if you're newer and you don't want to worry about it. All you really want to worry about is the cloud itself and understanding, kind of what it's telling you. When the price is above the cloud, it's considered a buy signal. Below, it's considered a sell signal. Within, you don't touch it, right? So ideally, right here, when you saw this kind of break into the cloud, you don't invest. You got to figure out if it's breaking up or down. It obviously rejected here, worked as a support, came up, and broke through. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at for the Ishimoku. Let's see if we are overextended on the TD sequential here. We've gotten a few resets. So usually in consolidation periods, which this is kind of a consolidation pattern, is up, over, up, over. That's the good thing. That's the reason why XRP is staying healthy and staying consistent with this bull run, is the simple fact that we've got these nice increases followed by a decent amount of consolidation and or retracement, but it just keeps on pumping. So right now we're at a 4. So hypothetically, we have another 5 hours worth of this bullish momentum before it has to retrace. Now, it won't necessarily continue to go up for 5 hours. It just means that if it goes up 5 hours longer, it will be likely to want to consolidate or retrace after that. Again, just something to kind of note. TD sequential is really good about indicating market exhaustion, and if you're at a 9 on TD sequential, it might be a consideration to pay close attention to see if it continues to pump a little further, or when it starts to retrace, you might want to trim your position. Looking at the 15 here, let's just go ahead and quickly understand the EMA and VWAP notification here. And this is a tool that I have that I provide to my patrons. So whenever they ask me to go ahead and provide it, I just send the script through, basically it's Pine Editor. You just go in here and you copy and paste it. But what I'm getting at is the simple fact that when you utilize this tool, it's going to give you signals. In other words, this is a signal right here. You see these little up arrows, basically telling us we have confirmation over EMA and VWAP, and the fact that we have 30 minutes of confirmation. So what I'm getting at here is if you are using the 15-minute chart ever, it's okay if you don't. But generally speaking, you want to have confirmation knowing that that the bulls are in control if you're going long, and if the bears are in control if you're going short. So when you have that confirmation and knowing that, you need to know that it's lasting longer than a couple of minutes, right? So for example, when you have this here and you have these up arrows, this basically tells us that we have 30 minutes of confirmation. So to me, 30 minutes is a really good number I've discovered over the time of my trading that helps you understand that the bulls are in control for 30 minutes, right? So the likelihood of them continuing that pattern is very high because you're above EMA and VWAP, right? Now, if you're new to the channel, EMA is exponential moving average. That's this red line here, essentially. It basically tells us when the bulls are in control or the bears are in control. It's a momentous indicator. It's the same type of indicator on the MACD, right? It's just overlaid on the price instead of on a separate oscillator. But the benefit of it is that when the price is above, it just continues to support. And when it's below, it's considered a rejection. This got rejected, of course, but then it came ramping back up. So there's no foolproof plan, right? It's never foolproof. But the bottom line here is that traditionally speaking, when the price is above EMA, you're going to be in pretty good shape to go long, right? Now this is the leg up and the leg down from Bitcoin, so that kind of makes sense. But generally speaking here, when we're looking at the price action, we want it to be above EMA and VWAP. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention that the VWAP, it's a day trader tool. You only utilize it on the 50-minute chart or lower. And what its use is to help you understand support and resistance levels. So it's continuous support and resistance with the price. It has to reset every 24 hours, so you'll see this kind of funkiness here because it's built on a traditional trading time frame, 24-hour period where you have a pre-market, market hours, post-market hours, and then it closes at 5 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. Eastern. Now that is generally how a trading style will work, which is why the VWAP is helpful in the sense that it gives you standard deviation. In other words, it basically tells you when the price is above, it's considered support, below, it's resistance. Don't remember anything else. If you're going to remember what I just mentioned, that is what you take away from here. It's basically a consistent support and resistance level because it takes the volume in the last 24 hours, expresses it as a price. So right now the price should be, according to the volume, $1.15, whereas the price is up to $1.23, and that's a variance of approximately 7-8%. That's a little high, so there's a strong chance the price will start coming back down a little bit to correct that. But when you try to take entry, what I'm getting at here is the fact that when your price is above support, obviously that's a good indication, right? When the price is above EMA, that's further confirmation. And the last thing, the icing on the cake I see is just that when you got 30 minutes of confirmation moving in that direction, instead of trying to swim upstream, you're kind of flowing downstream with it. It's so much easier to go with the current. That's when you consider taking entry, right? Okay. So again, just something to note. I hope I explained that correctly. If I didn't gel with you, watch some of my other videos. I try to confirm this every single time because when you look at the MACD and you got the conversion on the 4-hour chart, that's fantastic. And when you've got the Ishimoku cloud on the 1-hour chart, that's even better. But if you don't have good confirmation on the 15-minute chart, sometimes all that other stuff can be null and void. Again, depending on the position you're taking. If you're taking a long-term position, this probably doesn't matter as much, right? If you're more of a swing trader, I'm going to hold on for weeks or days or months, anything longer than a full week, I would say, then don't worry about the 15-minute chart. But if you are, trying to get some good profits in a short amount of time, which is what's the benefit of cryptocurrency in general, is to get those short bursts, then you want to pay attention to this and make sure you're not taking entry when the price is overinflated and it's just going to come right back down. Okay. So if you found benefit from this, please like and subscribe. If you haven't already, feel free to check out my Patreon account. I do provide all of my patrons with my signals. In other words, I share entry points, best practice, everything you need to know about being a good trader. I share all of my trades with my community members. So reference that in your own time. But again, thank you so much for joining me here if you made it all the way to the end. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.